And it's good to put the recorder really close
Okay.
so you can hear well. Hi, my name is Oliver Komar. I'm professor of biodiversity and natural resources management here at Zamorano in the Environment and Development Department.
Okay, so here we are. I'm Mateo Zurita and my friend Stefano Rizzo, and we're going to interview Komar about bird watching. Okay, so first question: how did you get into bird watching?
Well, I became interested in birds when I was a very small child. I first considered myself a bird watcher when I was 7 years old, and it was because my father gave me a pair of binoculars for my birthday.
Uh-huh.
And took me, and I have a twin brother, and he also gave my twin brother a pair of binoculars. And he took us on a walk near where we lived, along a little city park. And it was there were some birds in the trees, and we looked up in the trees with the binoculars, and could see the birds really clearly through the binoculars.
Nice.
And what used to be just birds flying around suddenly had brilliant colors. And in fact, I remember very clearly the bird that I saw with the binoculars. It was a Baltimore oriole, and right next to it was another beautiful bird called the rose-breasted grosbeak, which is these are birds with very bright colors. The Baltimore oriole is bright orange and red, not orange and red, orange and black.
Uh-huh.
And the rose-breasted grosbeak has a red triangle on its breast, and otherwise it's white and black, the kind of spots and bars of white and black. Very kind of llamativo. What's it? The colors that really stood out called my attention. And ever since I thought, oh, this is really cool. I want to see more birds in the binoculars and see if I can identify them. Because he also gave me a field guide. Well, or I don't know if he gave it to me. He had a field guide. He had a field guide to the birds. And these birds were easy to find in the plates of the field guide, and we could identify what they were. And so suddenly it became a game. Let's see if we can see a bird and identify it in the field guide.
Okay. So next question.
So next question. What is the thing you enjoy the most about it? About bird watching?
Well, okay, on the one hand, like I said, it was like a game for me, because I'd see a bird and I would try to identify it. But I think what really gave me positive feedback and made me interested in doing more and more of this bird watching was that my father would take me and my brother on organized field trips with the local bird club. So there would be a group of maybe 10 or 15 people, and they were all old people.
You were the youngest.
We were the only kids. And the thing about old people, I can say this now because I am one, is that old people can't see as well as kids can. They're not as alert. And a lot of these older people probably got interested in birds as adults. So they just weren't so fast, And, 7, 8-year-old, 9-year-old kids are like really fast. I see a bird there, but it's 200 meters away. And we would see the birds before the adults would see them. And we would kind of like tell them, there's a such and such over there. And then they'd all be like, where is it? And then they'd see it. Oh, wow. Hey, great. Thanks, guys, for pointing it out to us. So we get a lot of positive feedback from the adults on the bird club trips, encouraging us to find more birds and help them, show them to them. And I think that's something that's very, very positive for kids, to get positive feedback.
Yeah.
From the older people, from the parents, or from the older people. So that's something. You asked what did I enjoy the most about it. I'm not sure if that's what I enjoyed the most about it, but I think that might be the most important aspect that kept me interested in doing more.
Okay. So, what usually is the process of bird watching? What do you do? Like, it's a walk, it's a ride? Explain us, please.
Well, for me, it's usually a walk along a route that I've kind of planned in advance from one point to another. So it's as if you're walking a transect or doing some sort of route. And I always keep track of everything I see when I'm bird watching, kind of in a scientific way. So when I start the bird watching, I have an app on my telephone that I will kind of turn on. And the telephone will keep track of the route, keep track of the time, It uses the GPS to find where I am and to record the route. And every bird I see, I record in the telephone on a database called eBird.
Yeah.
And so I keep track of all the numbers. And that generates all kinds of graphs and interesting reports about the birds here at Zamorano or wherever I happen to be. So for me, it's that kind of scientific aspect of collecting the data of, what was the route that I was walking, what did I see, and all of that contributes into the knowledge database that helps us kind of understand the world and predict where things will be and when.
Nice.
What is your favorite bird to watch?
What is my favorite bird to watch? That's an interesting question. So for me, bird watching is more bird finding and bird identifying and bird counting than bird watching. Although sometimes I spend some time really observing. But that question kind of implies a longer term observation of bird behavior and lets us see what the bird does and everything like that. And I don't do that much of that these days. But I have to say that there are certain birds that when I see them, that I think they're just fascinating. So there's a bird here that on Zamorano called the fork-tailed flycatcher. There's actually just one.
Just one.
There's just one.
On the whole campus.
It's a female, and she's out of her normal habitat or her normal range. The species normally is on the Caribbean slope. So we're near the Caribbean, the divide between the Caribbean and the Pacific slope, and if you cross the divide, you can find more of these birds. But on this side of the divide, on the Pacific slope, it's very, very rare. And for the last 2 years, there's been one here at Zamorano. And I've spent a lot of time watching her. I've taken a lot of photographs. I think she is the most photographed bird here at Zamorano, because we've put up, I think, about 70 photographs of her over the last 2 years on the eBird database. And she's got this beautiful, long, streaming tail. I watched her build her nest, collect material, kind of dry grass, and then fly up to a palm tree, and she built a nest on the palm tree. She never had any... I don't know if she laid eggs. I couldn't tell if she laid eggs. She might have actually laid an egg, or two, or three. But the nest failed. It fell out of the tree eventually. She put the nest at the base of a palm branch, and it was the oldest palm leaf on the tree. So eventually the palm leaf got old and fell off. And when it fell off, the nest disappeared. So that's one that I enjoy to watch. But I enjoy watching all kinds of birds.
Okay. So, can you explain us more about eBird? What is that? What's the purpose of it, or what?
eBird it's a global database for bird observations, but it's also a platform, like an internet platform with portals from different regions of the world.
Okay.
So here in Central America, there's a portal for people in Central America, and it's all developed by a team of people at Cornell University. They've been working on it for 15 years, and every year it gets more complex and better, and keeps improving. I collaborate with them as a volunteer reviewer for the data in Honduras, in Nicaragua, and El Salvador. And I also collaborate writing articles for the portal. So the portal is kind of like it has news articles as well. So there's communication between eBird and the people who use it.
And everyone can contribute with articles and...
Anybody who wants to, really. I mean, it's not so obvious how to contribute an article. You'd probably have to somehow find out who the coordinators of the portal are and communicate with them. But in this case, I'm one of the coordinators of the portal. So if I want to write an article, I know how to write an article and publish it. But if someone else wanted to write an article, they could also.
Okay. So, yeah, I think that is it.
There's one more question there.
Yeah, but...
That's it.
Yeah, asking.
Which has been the hardest to find?
Yeah.
Which has been the hardest to find? Yeah, that's a tough question.
Here in Zamorano or in your whole life, I don't know.
There's a few birds that I've never seen, and so one of those is the hardest to find, right? There's almost every bird watcher has a small list of species that they call the nemesis species, because we look for it and we never find it. So, like, I'm trying to think what might be for me a nemesis meeting a species I've looked for many times and I've never been able to find it. There's one species that's a rare quail, beautiful bird called an ocellated quail. And people have gotten fantastic photographs of it. It's a spectacular quail, very striking, surprisingly beautiful quail. And it lives only in Honduras and Guatemala.
And you've never found it?
I've heard it on many occasions, and I've never seen one.
Wow.
And I've heard it even here near Zamorano. I've never actually. I've seen them like fly up from my feet, boom, and disappear 10 meters away, and never seen one in my binoculars. It's like so. It's I have actually seen it, but I've never seen it really well. I'd like to see one of those. It's called an ocellated quail.
Ocellated quail.
Ocellated quail.
I
Okay.
think that's
That's it? Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
All right,
Thank you
well,
very much
glad
for
to be
this
able to help
interview.
you guys.
And yeah,
Good luck with your studies.
thank you.